everyone. Welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, I'm joined by Mr. Yinka Yusuf
Hello.
and Akin Adeke. Yinka,
Yes,
what a
boss.
week, what a week, what a week. First, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm very,
Okay.
very good. You?
How was your week?
Work as usual. Busy. What else? I told you I'm kind of home alone. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So I'm living the bachelor life.
Yeah, I would say lucky you, but my wife watches this, so I won't say that.
you already said it. Yeah. So it's been a normal week actually.
Yeah, nice.
I struck a good deal, which I talked to you about, and I feel excited about it. Well, we'll talk about that later on.
Later.
Later on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about you?
So I traveled again. So second week in a row. And then I'm traveling again. Today is Sunday, the 12th of May.
Yeah.
And I'm traveling again tomorrow. So for the third week in a row. This time Monday to Friday, unfortunately. I think the older you get,
week
the
you're
harder.
traveling again.
Yeah, I know. The older you get, the harder it is to recover from this travels.
I say this, once you're 40 and above, right? is like the warranty that God gave your body expires when you clock 40.
It's insane.
Because if you sleep and you don't wake up properly, you might as well just have a horrible day.
Yeah,
or
pretty much.
you eat something that just doesn't register with you. That's your night messed up already.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. It takes forever to heal from minor things.
Yeah, most of my travel now is like a 90-minute flight. DC to Boston, right? My job is in Boston, but it's the week. It's the bringing your office on the road. Like you're in meetings all day, but you're trying to do work at night. Trying not to disappoint people. It just makes it hard. But we're lucky to have decent enough careers and jobs that pay the bills. So what can you do?
What can we do?
Right.
We can't complain. We can't.
All right.
So what do we have this week, bro?
Well, first, today's Sunday. In North America, today's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to the moms out there that watch us. Hope everyone had a good day today and got a little bit of a break from, the mundane, everyday stuff.
Taking care of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Taking care of everybody. So hope you found someone, or hope you have someone to take care of you today. And thank you for everything you do. What do we have?
Thank you.
So we're gonna bring back our Worthy Mention segment that we started last week. And there's a few ones this week. We'll probably start with the Kylian Mbappe, wink, wink, bombshell that everybody was expecting. Can it be a bombshell when everyone knows exactly what you're going to say? Yeah. So.
Anyway, we'll talk about it.
Talk about that.
He didn't say enough.
He didn't say
I'm
enough.
leaving only. Dude, where are you going?
I have some thoughts as to why. I'm sure you do too.
I do.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about Manchester City and their charges before the Premier League. There were nominees announced for the Premier League Player of the Season. We were talking about this. There's you have the Football Writers Zone, you have the Player Zone, but this is the actual Premier League one. And they also announced Manager of the Season nominees. We also have NBA awards that came out since the last time we spoke. And the NBA playoffs are still going on, so we'll talk about all that, and then we'll review the week that was. We'll talk about what's coming next. There's a big Champions League final coming, and while all that is going on, we will have a Donkey of the Week as always.
Yeah, we will.
All right, so let's get into the worthy mentions. Yinka, Kylian Mbappe. Let me set it up, and then I'll kick it over to you. So, PSG hosted a second leg against Borussia Dortmund. They were down a goal to nil. I've always believed in Borussia Dortmund, as you know, but even I predicted that Mbappe would score a hat trick and erase the 1-goal deficit. That did not happen. Dortmund went into Paris and did exactly what they did at Dortmund, which is play defense out of nowhere because they're not known for playing defense.
Absolutely.
Karim Adeyemi again, just working tirelessly. And then Sancho again having 2 good games. Like, where is all this coming from? But what was most peculiar was Mbappe didn't show. But anyway, shortly thereafter, was it 2 days after that defeat? So Dortmund wins 1-0. So they get into the final on a 2-0 aggregate. Shortly thereafter, maybe 2 days after, Kylian releases a 4-minute video. Why is it always 4 minutes? When Van Persie left Arsenal, it was also 4 minutes. Anyway, released a 4-minute video announcing he was leaving Paris, and this Sunday's game will be his last game. But it doesn't say where he's going, even though we all know where he's going. So I have my thoughts. My thoughts are, one, maybe Real said, hey, we don't need the distraction. We have the Champions League final. Don't say anything. And or, more than likely, money. They haven't really tied up the money situation. Marcel Desailly talked about, hey, why even go to any big club? Go to Saudi for $350 million. I didn't even know that was a thing. For $350 million, and then go to a big club after the World Cup in 26. So, what are you thinking, Inka?
So, the 4-minute video was completely unnecessary, in my opinion. What was he trying to do? Do like LeBron did when he was leaving, or what? The big announcement. We all know where you're going. It's not really a surprise. If the whole world didn't know you were going to Madrid and you were going to leave, then that element of surprise will have driven up numbers for a particular channel or something. But we knew this was going to happen. That 4-minute video to start with for me was unnecessary. That's one. Two, I agree with you on the bit of not saying where he's going. I don't think it's a distraction bit. It's already a distraction as it is. I think it has to do with the money bit. Yeah. Because Real then need to tidy up. They need to clean house first before they can confirm how much they can pay him. Because I think they are still far apart in terms of what Mbappe wants to collect, in terms of what Real Madrid can give him right now. So some players will have to go, right? They will need to free up, I don't want to say cap space, but you get what I mean. Salary space to be able to absorb Kylian. And I think also that Kylian is kind of selling himself short, if I can put it that way.
Okay. Say more about that.
Don't you think it would have been better if he's not quote unquote twerking for Madrid? You get what I mean?
Well, technically, he's rejected them twice.
Yeah, because of money.
Yes,
that's it.
Because of money.
Everybody's smart. Yeah, when it comes, I keep telling most of my coaches, my mentees, I tell them, you move for two things: higher, how do I put it now? Higher position.
Yeah, position.
Higher prestige and higher money. The two, you have to have both. You can't have higher money and you're taking a lower prestige job. It's not good for you, right? And also vice versa is not good for you. You can't take a higher prestige job and you're going for less. Both, you need to tick both boxes. So in my opinion, that's why he didn't leave earlier. But now, even if it is just as a bargaining chip against Madrid, yeah, get everybody. in. Talk to people, even if you know you're not going there. Talk to them.
Talk to
Talk to them.
Barcelona. I still don't get why he's not. No, I don't understand why he didn't consider Barcelona. He would be perfect for Barcelona.
And why
I
is
don't
he
get
not
it.
considering the EPL also?
Yeah, I agree. Chelsea
Why?
would kill to have
Why?
him. Yeah.
Why? Chelsea can't have him, right? They can't afford him.
No,
Okay,
I know.
Chelsea can't
I
afford
know.
him.
But, I mean, City, why not? Why don't you want to go play with Haaland?
But he's made it so obvious. He's played the cards that he's been dealt with. He said, guys, I'm going to Madrid. So Madrid right now, they're trying to squeeze the best out of him to say, dude, meet us halfway. And I hope they get this sorted, because it will be interesting if come August, when the league starts, right? Mr. Mbappe has still not announced where he's going to. That will be silly. That would be
So
seriously silly.
there's something coming up. The
Yeah.
Olympics are in Paris for 24. Henry is the U23 manager for France. Mbappe is 26 now, I believe, or 25. So he will
25.
be, if he plays, it will be one of the 3 overaged players allowed.
That are allowed. Yeah.
Henry wants him. Mbappe hasn't said whether he wants to be on the team or not, but I'm gonna assume he's a Parisian boy. I'm gonna assume he wants to be on there.
The whole of France wants him.
Exactly.
Whole of France. Even Macron, the president, he even said it recently. He said it recently. So,
is the new club gonna let him go and then report late? It's a lot to think about, but I hope it goes. For obviously, I want Henry to be back in top level coaching. So I would love for France to do well. Is Nigeria going to be at the Olympics? The men.
No.
I know the women are going. Are the men going to be there?
The women are good. I don't think the men qualified.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not sure. I'll have to double check.
Then yes, I want France
to win. I think the women did. I don't think the men did.
Yeah. But anyway,
time will tell. We'll see what happens to Kylian. Yeah.
All right. So moving on swiftly. I think our listeners will recall, we've talked about this a few times. There's 115 charges against the defending champions. 115. 100. 10 plus another 5. Against the defending champions of the English Premier League. And some might say champions in waiting for the 23-24 season. But not if Spurs have anything to do with it. But anyway, so we'll get to that. Yuka. So here's the thing. So you got so kick us off on this one. Why are we still here? What's going on?
So recent reports, Akin, you're right. We've spoken about this a couple of times.
Yeah.
But recent reports earlier on the week that just passed.
Yeah.
There's somewhere in the news that it said that City and the Football Association are probably looking at out of court settlement, right? And I thought, interesting. I've not heard of this before. And I remember I have a friend who I talk to every Sunday evening, who is a lawyer, and I said, let me pick your brains on how this will work, because the reason why we got here to start with is the fact that the players, the clubs, the association of the FA and everyone agreed that financial penalties didn't do the work. That is why they started deducting points.
Yeah.
There were financial penalties in the past. But since they've started deducting points, you've seen people sit up,
Yeah.
But now if you're going to do an out-of-court settlement, it sounds as if that's a financial, you're settling, is like I'm agreeing to pay a fine. That's what it sounds like to me. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah. No,
how will this pan out?
Yeah. So one, I think the language absolutely matters, right? So I'm gonna give you the classic, the classic lawyer response to everything, right?
Okay,
It,
I'm,
it
I'm about to
depends.
hear this.
Yeah, it depends. That's the classic lawyer response to everything. So I would argue most of it is because the lawyer doesn't know the right answer, right? So
Yeah,
lawyers are not accountants, lawyers are not doctors, lawyers are not mathematicians, right? So you don't want your doctor to be like, it depends, when
yeah.
when your
You need
life
you
is
need
on
to
the line,
tell me you need to
you
tell me
know,
what it is and
like,
what is not.
am I dying?
Am I
And the
dying?
lawyer and the lawyer will be like, it depends. Is it cold? Is it morning or evening? But anyway, no, but speaking seriously, so I wouldn't put too much stock in the quote unquote out of court thing, right? Because the only way this
Mm-hmm.
actually gets to court is City appealing in the first place. So
Yeah.
the Premier League have done their own thing. They're like, here are the charges.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one
Mm-hmm.
fighting it, right? So, but the first time we talked about this, Yinka, you made a great point. You talked about precedent, and I would argue that since then, there's been even more precedent that doesn't
Absolutely.
favor City. So since
Absolutely.
then, one of their neighbors, Everton, right,
Yeah.
have had two different sets of charges
Two
against them,
different ones.
right,
Yep.
over several years, right, and they had initially 17 total points deducted. That's been walked back to I think 8, right,
Mm-hmm.
and they accepted the 8. The 8 was final.
Yes.
Thankfully for them and their fans, they played well enough to overcome the 8 points deducted, and they're not going to go down, right? So good for them. And then since then, Nottingham Forest, a once proud club, have also had, I believe, did they have an appeal as well? But they're going to get 4 points deducted. I don't know how much it
Yes,
was
they're gonna get
originally.
4 points deducted. Yeah.
Yeah, but what was it?
Yeah.
Was it 8 or 6 originally? I can't remember.
I
But
can't even remember also. But yeah, they've been slammed also. They've taken their faith and they're moving on with it.
yeah. So what? So yeah, I think what happened was Nottingham Forest actually failed when they appealed, right? So, but either way, it's gonna be 4 points. So my point is, when you have, this is not a criminal thing, obviously, but just go with it. And when you're in criminal court, for example, and there's a bunch of co-conspirators or whatever, the
Mm-hmm.
prosecutor will tell them, "Look, I have a deal, and the deal only gets worse the longer you wait." Right? So
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
first person to get this deal gets the best deal. Because obviously
Yep.
there's
Yep.
other issues at play here. You're testifying against the others. That's not what's happening here, obviously. But my point
Mm-hmm.
is, you're not gonna tell me that City will somehow come later and do better than Nottingham Forest and Everton. So I don't know where we're gonna go with this, and I don't think. Oh, then my second point is, I don't think it necessarily means financial penalties only. It could just mean
Mm.
City want to move on. They're gonna withdraw whatever appeal they have. They'll take, I don't know, if it was a 10-point penalty, they'll take 5. I don't know. They might, but theirs is really complicated because it goes back to 2009.
And
2009,
how
you always correct my
how
math on this. 15 years?
retrospective?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's 15 years.
How
So
retrospective can this be?
I don't know. Some of
You,
these
you
rules were
understand?
not even in
So
place.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So it will be interesting to see
it
how
will
this
be.
pans out because we can move on shortly
Yeah,
because City said that the things that have been levied against them, the accusations, the whatever they have in front of them, is tending towards fraud. It's
yeah,
not just, oh,
it
you
is.
didn't comply with the PNS rules, right? And if you're accusing someone of fraud, then you need to give the person the opportunity to defend themselves in a court of law. So it
Not
is City
necessarily.
that actually, no, no, but that's what the City
Yeah, yeah,
lawyers are saying. So
yeah,
just give ha. So it is City that is saying we want to go to court.
yeah,
So that means for you to now, I don't know who is then initiating this out of court settlement if it is indeed something. But I don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know how this is. And everybody's watching.
yeah,
The whole world is watching. The other teams are watching. If you give them a light penalty in
yeah,
comparison to Everton and Forest, if you don't make it retrospective,
yeah,
people will be like, what's going on? So if it's gonna be, as we move on, is if the penalty is gonna be, effective now, how many points will it be? Are you gonna dock them 20 points, 30 points?
Expulsion from the Premier League.
Expulsion from the Premier League, cancelling the titles that they've won.
I'll take last year's title.
Arsenal will have 2 titles then.
Yeah, I'll take it. So I'll take it. I'm okay with it. And I'll take my titles however I get them. I do not care. Not one bit.
A lot of people are waiting on this.
I have no shame. I have no shame. Zero.
Ian Wright said something.
Yeah.
He said, the sooner this is resolved, the better. Because that's a big elephant in the room. Yeah. Right?
No,
you can't have 115 looming over your head and you just keep going as if, everything is well and dandy. There's nothing. There is a problem.
Yeah.
There is a problem. Anyway, we can move on. We'll talk.
Quick one.
I'm sure we'll still talk about this very soon.
Yeah. So one thing I'm just going to say quickly is, okay.
Yeah.
When you go to court, real court means real evidence, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are going to be embarrassed. So for example, if it's true that they were paying, let's say, Mancini, for example, they were paying Mancini, let's say £3 million officially, and then they're paying him for quote unquote consulting, which means coming to Abu Dhabi twice a year to play golf. And then they were paying him, I'm making up the numbers now, another $6 million to consult. That's embarrassing. Those are, those are real things. Now we're talking, I think I'm not a tax lawyer and I'm not a Abu Dhabi tax lawyer, but I think those places are tax-free, but they're not typically tax-free reporting back to your own country. So was that money that you reported? So there's a lot at stake here. So if I'm City, I don't want my books opened. I do what Juve did, or, the Calciopoli thing. You take the lumps, you go back to Serie B and you start over. You don't want all those things in the public domain, in my opinion, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Let's move on.
All right. Yinka, so we had the Premier League Player of the Year nominees. So why don't we just read it off real quick to our audience, and then we can go from there. So there were 8. Yinka, before we started recording, I was like, why do you need 8? Even the Ballon d'Or, the Ballon d'Or starts with like 1 million people, and then they finish with like 5 and then 3 or whatever it is. Anyway, so Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Alexander Isak, Ollie Watkins, Cole Palmer, Virgil van Dijk.
Yes.
8. So let's start with Yinka. Who should not be on here that is on there of the 8? Who does not deserve to be on there?
Okay. Number 1, Virgil van Dijk.
Agree.
I like him. You know how I feel about.
No, we love him.
But this season, he should not even smell this list. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Alexander Isak.
Agreed.
Had a fantastic season, but 20 goals, 1 assist. Newcastle is 5th. So what? Yeah. He can even argue that he's not the best player on Newcastle.
Who would be the best player on Newcastle? Guimaraes?
You might argue that it's Bruno, actually. It might be Bruno. Yeah. Because Isak was injured for a lot of times, and what's his name? Wilson also came in and did a decent job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Isak, not on this list.
Okay.
And the third person will actually be Martin Odegaard.
Should not be on the list for player of the season. You love this guy.
Yes.
I agree with you, by the way, but I'm just shocked.
I'm being very objective here.
Wow. Okay. Right? You're breaking news over here.
I'm being very, very, very objective.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be on this list. Right? And if you ask me the people, before we go to the people that should replace them, or you want me to go ahead with that?
Go ahead.
Since you agree with my 3.
Go ahead.
The 3 that I think should replace them will be Rodri.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Rodri is the best Man City player. It's not even these 2 that are here. Rodri should be the number 1 name on this list.
Okay.
Then you have to have the defensive pairing of Gabriel and Saliba. there is no way you're coming up with 8 players in the EPL and those 2 don't get on that list. So those are the 3 that I will use to replace the 3 that I mentioned.
Okay. So, because I live in the real world, I know Haaland is always going to be on there. It doesn't matter. I mean, this man was injured. He was injured. He went away, right? Came back. Nobody had caught him yet in number of goals. So, I'm just... this is what he does. He just scores goals. So I'm not even going to waste my breath trying to argue that he shouldn't be there. So I think I said it. Did I say it last week? Or maybe I was saying it to someone. The man is only, 23, I think. I did say it last week. He scored 201, now 205, whatever it is, goals since he left his country. It's ridiculous. 5 years ago.
Ridiculous.
So Phil Foden already won one of these awards. He's been really good. He's pretty much taking over slowly from KDB. And this year, he had to score some goals when Haaland was out. Declan Rice was the signing of the season. He's the best player for Arsenal this year. I think Odegaard should be in the running for Arsenal Player of the Year, but not for Premier League Player of the Season.
No.
So yeah, I would agree with you. Isak out. Ollie Watkins probably could win this thing, and I would be okay with it because 20 plus goals, 10 plus assists. No one else has done it.
Yeah.
So and to be honest, Aston Villa are punching above their weight. So you got to give it to him. Honestly, Cole Palmer, why? What? So that's the one I would have for what? It's called what?
Cole Palmer will actually be the signing of the season in the EPL, not Declan Rice.
You are crazy.
And I'll explain.
Yeah, explain.
Cole Palmer has 21 goals and 10 assists in the EPL.
How many
Cole
penalties?
Palmer cost... It doesn't matter. A goal is a goal.
It does.
Nah, come on, man.
It does.
No. So come on now, you can't do that. Isak scores penalties too. Watkins scores penalties too.
Half his goals penalties.
It doesn't matter, man.
Okay.
Right?
Go on.
The only bright spark for Chelsea this season, right? And nobody saw this coming. If they told you at the beginning of the season, penalties or no penalties, that Cole Palmer would have scored 21 goals, 10 assists at the end of this season,
I would not have believed it. I would not have believed it.
Absolutely.
No, I would not have believed
that. If they're getting him for 40, how much was
45 million.
45, right? In terms of value for money.
Yeah.
This season. Yeah. So he can arguably be the signing of the season. I get the Declan Rice impact, right? But for that price tag, he had better bring that impact.
I know, but how often does it happen? I hear what you're saying. My head gets it logically.
That's a different argument.
I think you're arguing. You're arguing for surprise of the season, not player of the season.
Is it not the same thing?
No, it's not. Can you close your eyes and imagine Cole Palmer being the best player in the EPL this season? That's what it is.
No. I didn't say best player of the season.
No, I know. Okay.
I said signing of the season.
I'm arguing it shouldn't be on this list of 8. Because for me, if I can't close my eyes and imagine this guy was the best player in the EPL this season, that's how you get to 5 or 3. They shouldn't have started with 8 in the first place. They're just trying to get some people paid.
Don't punish the young man for playing for a crap football team.
It's not my problem.
Don't punish him for playing for a crap football team. Because Declan Rice last season, right, probably played, as good as he's playing for Arsenal right now.
He wasn't nominated. He wasn't nominated.
No, but you get what I'm trying to say. I know what you mean.
They won a trophy, but wasn't nominated. Yeah.
So I'm not. If you ask me after those 3, the next person I will take off, it will be Cole Palmer, right?
Okay.
But I understand why they will put him here. Okay. Right? Is only him and Watkins that have double-digit goals, double-digit assists in the Premier League.
In the Premier League.
Not in all competitions.
Saka in the Premier League only.
Yeah. Saka has in all competitions. In the Premier League only those 2, right? And whether you like it or not, if you look at the table right now, guess where Chelsea is?
Sixth now or seventh?
So Chelsea are 7th,
Yeah,
on
okay.
the same points with Newcastle.
Yeah.
And they are still in contention for Europa League, whether you like it or not. There are 2 games
They will
left.
need
Chelsea
Tottenham
have
to
2 games.
lose.
Spurs have, all of
Yeah,
them have 2 games.
yeah. They'll need Tottenham to lose both
So
games though.
if you
Yeah.
look at it, if you now look at it that way, you'll be like, okay, I can understand why he's on that list. He's by far Chelsea's best player this season. By far. Without him, I don't
Yes.
know where they'll
Yes,
be.
he is. So the players I would add, one of Saliba or Gabriel. It could be both. Definitely Rodri. So I agree on that. All right. Let's move on, Yinka. Do we want to do manager of the
Good.
season nominees or not? Does it matter?
Yeah, I think I agree with the list. The only person I probably would have, taken out will be Klopp. I don't see why Klopp is there. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially
So
based
let's
on all
say
the
who is
antics
there
that
first.
happened.
Yeah, Guardiola, Arteta, Klopp, Emery, and Iraola. Iraola from Bournemouth.
Yes.
So you don't think
Bournemouth.
Klopp in his final season, 20-ish points above last season? No?
They faded eventually, right? And all the antics that happened with Salah and all those, it's just bad optics. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I
wouldn't have him here, right? But there's someone that actually has been doing a good job, who I really thought probably would have been on here. Will be Gary O'Neill at Wolves.
Oh yeah,
right?
we both like him.
He took up a team that didn't want to buy anybody. When the Spanish guy was fired, Lopetegui, he was like, "You guys are not buying," and the guy was like, "Fine, give me whatever we have. I'll work with it." And he's kept them afloat. They're not even in the relegation battle at all, more or less, So I'll have given a nod to Gary O'Neill. Iraola, same thing. He's done magic. He's worked magic with Bournemouth. Bournemouth used to be relegation battlers, so they've done well. So Iraola is worthy to be here. Then the new Crystal Palace coach. I mean, the guy just came to prove your point, Akin, that age matters when we're doing this kind of work. Because Chief Roy Hodgson turned this into like a retirement work. Yeah. And, he's left. A new guy's coming from the German league. And that guy has turned Crystal Palace around. They've won like 3 or 4 games on the bounce, and they're smashing everybody. So I get that he came in, after the mid-season. Maybe that's the reason why he's not here, but he's done a fantastic job. Yeah.
If he keeps it up, he'll do it again next year. So,
but who do you think will win the managers and the players?
So the player won Foden. I think they'll give it to Foden.
Why?
Yeah, we already saw it with the Football Writers award. That's because City win the league.
English. He's not the best player on City's team.
I know, but the best player is not nominated.
I don't get this.
The best player is not nominated, right? So
Rodri for me, Rodri is the best player in this EPL. Last season, this season. You see, if you watch, we saw Partey play today, making mistakes after mistake.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I saw Rodri make a mistake for City. Yeah? And this guy is their engine room. He makes them tick. So why is he not here? And why are you giving it to Roy?
And hasn't lost a game in 60-something games that he's played?
Yeah.
Something ridiculous like that, yeah.
I'm sorry. This list for me, I don't know. I think Rodri should win it.
But it's not on the list, so he can't.
Yeah, you're right. They'll probably give it to Foden, right?
Yeah, Foden will win.
Young English boy. We want to prop him up. But nah, come on, man.
Yeah. Rodri cannot win because Rodri was not nominated. I'm sorry.
And watch, Declan Rice will be number 2.
He should be on this list. He probably should win on this list. I think he's had a better season than Foden, but okay. If Rodri is not on here, I think Declan Rice should win. But that's how it is.
Then for the managers, they're going to give it to Pep.
I think it
we
won't
know
be
that
Pep.
already.
I think it won't be
They're
Pep.
gonna
I
give it
think
to
they'll
Pep.
find a way
I
to
think they'll
not
give
give
it to
Pep.
Pep.
I think they won't. I think it will be Arteta or Klopp. That's what they'll do.
Nah,
That's
not
what they'll
Klopp.
do. You'll see.
Not Klopp.
You'll see.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
All right.
Anyway,
let's move on.
on.
Yinka, do the NBA. Do the NBA awards.
Okay, so the NBA awards. So once the regular season is over, they keep building up. They start with the sixth man, then they move to the defensive player of the year, then they do the MVP. So the MVP, the most valuable player in the MVP, in the NBA, three finalists. So we had Luka Doncic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and we had Nikola Jokic. And Jokic won it, making him, that's his third, right?
In 4 years. Third in 4 years.
Third in 4 years. So he won the MVP. Defensive Player of the Year was the French high tower Rudy Gobert. It was Bama Adebayo, Rudy Gobert, and Victor Wembanyama. So 2 French boys on there. So Rudy Gobert won that. And the sixth man of the year was won by Naz Reid from the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
There's a big guy. The guy can shoot lights out. Minnesota,
Hustle.
they were, very, very surprisingly, he silently won this sixth man of the year, if you get what I mean. He because Gobert offensively is very limited.
Yes.
So Naz Reid got plenty playing time, especially when Kat was out, Karl Anthony Towns, and he really held his own. And for as long as Kat was out, Timberwolves still maintained, 1-2, 1-2 all through the season, and ultimately got the number 1 seed. So those are the 3 key ones. The Rookie of the Year was Victor Wembanyama.
Of course.
Obviously.
Yeah.
In fact, some would have argued he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. But I don't have okay. Out of those 2 awards, I have two of the awards that I have a problem with.
Okay.
So it will be the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year.
You don't think Jokic should have won?
Yeah. I think Shea was more deserving than Jokic.
Okay, I can receive that. Yeah,
I think Shea was more deserving than Jokic.
Okay.
Yeah, I get. So a lot of people I think they've given Jokic this award not for this year only. It's just like you've been solid for. Yeah, you've been solid for a long period of time. So there you go.
That happens though. That happens.
But Shea, this year, nobody thought that OKC team would do nothing.
No.
Nobody. And this young man will, he will give you the unflashy, very, very, silent 30, 40 in games without doing anything flashy, he had a fantastic season. So I would have given it to Shea.
Okay.
So would I say he was robbed? Not necessarily.
No.
Right? Because it's not as bad. You're not like you left Shea and you went to give it to a LeBron James or something.
Yeah. No, I actually thought they got the top 3 right. I think Doncic was deserving. I thought it would be closer. I thought Doncic would get more votes. I'm surprised it was a distant third. Well, I guess his new Doncic is playing defense thing started too late for that narrative because the media loves them a narrative, and guy who is always out of shape who plays no defense suddenly playing defense. Oh, they love that. But I guess he didn't start playing defense early enough in the season for that to make a difference. Just a joke to me. The NBA is fantastic. All right.
But the Defensive Player of the Year,
I
don't think Rudy Gobert should have won. I don't even think Gobert should have won any of the ones that he did.
Okay, now that's controversial. Not for this year. I'm shocked that he won his 4th. But I'm shocked that you would say he shouldn't have won any of them. So please explain.
So stats matter.
Okay.
If you look at steals, blocks, he's not the number 1. He's not there. So if you are the defensive stalwart on the best defensive team, does that make you the defensive player of the year? Because I believe the whole Wolves team plays solid defense. The only person that doesn't play well, let me say doesn't play, but
Cat.
who is not as strong defensively, is Cat.
Yeah.
Or everybody on that Wolves team, they are defensive stalwarts.
Yeah.
So for you to keep giving him, come on now.
So
What's his name? Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Is a better defensive player than Rudy Gobert.
I
Anthony
agree.
Davis is a better defensive player and had better defensive numbers than Rudy Gobert.
So, but
But
the
they
voters
keep giving Rudy Gobert.
So I got two problems with the voting this year. I agree with you on Gobert, right? I think some of it was a sympathy vote. People don't like him, so the media was like, nobody likes this guy. We're gonna give him this stuff, and then he did the Tribune article about how he's misunderstood and all the things he's been through. Whatever, good for you, whatever. So that's one. Two, I'm very skeptical about Wembayama. I think is as likely to break in two because it's like a pencil stick figure as he is to be an all-time great. So I was shocked that the rookie of the year voting was unanimous. I thought Chet Holmgren would at least get one or two first place votes.
But what's the difference in terms of structure, if I can use that word, between Victor and Chet? They are both like toothpicks.
I know. No,
like
I know.
that.
I know. I'm just shocked because my thing is the Spurs had a terrible season. So I'm like, what are we rewarding?
Okay, I get that.
If
that's your perspective,
the other guy
I totally agree with you.
The other guy can't get any first place votes, So again, narratives,
But Chet's lining up next to Shea,
I know,
diminished Chet's impact and his game.
That's real.
But Wemby didn't. Spurs, there's nobody else on Spurs team. It was Wemby or the highway. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And God, I was skeptical at the beginning of the season too. But man, no. The boy, man.
We'll see.
If he stays fit and he doesn't have any major injury, he's going to be a nightmare in the NBA. Nightmare. Anyway, so I thought I don't think Rudy Gobert deserved the defensive player of the year. Yeah. Before we quickly run off, let's talk about the round ones, the playoff round one. And now that is all done, unfortunately, my Lakers are out. It was a gentleman's sweep. Yeah, but we decided not to talk about it until everything was done. Yeah, intentionally. Gentleman's sweep with the Nuggets. It's similar to what happened last year.
Yeah.
The games, there was no blowout win. Right? Maybe just one in the last, that would be how many games? 5 + 4, 9 games. Right? It's just that the Lakers could not execute their offense effectively in the fourth quarter. And for me, that blame, you should pack it right in the doorstep of one Mr. LeBron James. I'm sorry. You cannot. We keep saying that Bron is not clutch. But people pick up stats and they say, if you look at shots that have been taken in the last 5 minutes, he has the highest percentage. Right? Yeah. But I'm like, there's a reason that is the case. Because he usually does not like to attempt shots that are not,
high percentage shots. Yeah.
High percentage shots. Right? He would rather pass to someone else, which is different from a Kobe, different from a Jordan, even different from Anthony, what's his name? The young boy at Wolves now. Yeah?
Yeah, Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Yeah. Anthony Edwards, like, give me the ball, get everybody clear out. I got this. Yeah. Right? So you can have a Bron if there's... See, Bron is he's almost 40, yeah? If there's a reason for him not to be pounding the ball as much as he used to, that will be his age. I believe now Bron should just sit in the post. I've been saying this. Sit in the post and just eat in the post.
But that's this kid.
Fade away left.
I include LeBron as a kid because They're all much younger than we are. These kids will not do what makes sense. That's not what this generation does, right? They won't go to the post. So, because for me, if I'm a center in the league, right, or any kind of big man in the league right now, and you put a stick figure on me, you are dead.
Yep.
I don't care about Wembayama. All this stuff that like he does this is 7'6". I don't care. He weighs 100 pounds. I will kill him. What are we talking about? You know, like what is he gonna do to me? Like, can you imagine Wembayama on Shaq? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Forget Shaq. Can you imagine Wembayama against Hakeem Olajuwon?
Barbecue chicken.
Like, what are we talking about? So we're
now
acting
what
as
you
if...
see.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, it's ridiculous. But now what you see is everybody, even Joel Embiid, wants to be shooting threes.
And there's nothing wrong with shooting threes, right? Expand your game, Yinka. This is, new world, all of that. Expand your game, right? But
absolutely.
But when they disrespect you and put a stick figure on you, kill them.
And they don't double up, and they don't double you. Yeah.
Kill.
And what you're saying is true. If you expand your game, it opens all the facets of your game.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with Anthony Davis on LA. What are you doing? All you need to do is to let the opponent respect your jumper. Once you've achieved that, they will be eating on your palms all day. You can kill teams any which way, right? But see what's going on right now. The Lakers are in Cancun already fishing, and the Nuggets, who swept them, are having a torrid time with the Timberwolves right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they got one back. They're
having a torrid time with the
blowouts. So, 2 blowouts and 1 tight game. They'll be okay.
They'll be okay. Anyway, so Suns were not
proper swept. They were proper swept, not gentlemen swept. Yeah,
yeah. And this is a team that had KD, that had Booker, and that had what's his name again?
Bradley
the guy
Beal
from Washington.
Bradley Beal.
Had Bradley Beal. 3 of them, 3 superstars, right?
Their salaries. The 3 of them together make $150 million a year. One is like 50 on the dot. One is 49.5. One is 51 or 50.5.
And guess what? They fired the coach, and they said they're going to run it back with this same team.
It's ridiculous. But may I take this one? So, as you know, I live in Maryland. I live in the DC area. A lot of my friends in this area born and bred here, right? I'm very, very anti all the teams here. In basketball, I'm a Knicks fan, so I get it from the Wizards fan. In NFL, I'm a Eagles fan, so I get it. I get it from the Washington Commandos, whatever the hell they're called now, fans. So I'm very anti.
Have they changed their name already?
Yeah, they changed the name from a racial slur, which I would not say.
Sorry, I said it. Sorry.
Commanders.
Yeah, Commanders. Yeah.
Here's my problem with this area, right? They love to just stay in their little bubble. So because I've moved around a lot and I've lived in many places within the U.S., I know the chatter in other places. I kept telling my friends, I'm like, Bradley Beal is small. I don't just mean in size. And I don't just mean in physical stature. Outside of this DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, nobody knows Bradley Beal. Nobody cares about him. They thought I was crazy. The first time he made the All-Star game, I'm like, it looks small. On that stage, it looked like he didn't belong. I'm like, give him $50 million if you want. But if this guy was available today, nobody would want him. Nobody would want this guy because it just feels small.
Given his injury history.
Yeah, injury too. And now we're seeing it. And I feel the same way about Booker. Without CP3, Booker hasn't done anything in his career. It just scores.
Even with CP3, what has he done?
Well, with CP3, they went to the NBA Finals. They went to the NBA Finals.
Okay.
And then without him, they're getting swept. So you need an adult in the room. KD has proven that he's not that adult. KD will always play well.
He just wants to ball.
But there's never been a playoffs I can remember where KD did not bring it. KD will bring it with or without help. But KD is the kind
Yeah.
of guy where his bringing it does not translate always to wins. That's not his fault. But then the others don't even bring it. But anyway, that was my thing on 150 million.
So the surprise round one, Clippers are out. I'm not sure that's a surprise because Clippers are always going clip.
Like you said it before.
I said it before. They also have a massive wage bill. And I'm surprised. I thought they would do better against Mavericks than they did.
Yeah.
The other surprise is Bucks are out, but not really a surprise given that
there are two injuries.
Giannis was injured. Yeah,
Giannis
was
and
injured.
Dame. Dame was injured for most of it.
Injured. Yeah. Then your Knicks, I'll give it to you. Your Knicks are playing fantastically well.
Not today. Not today. We got blown out today.
You got blown out today.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you played already.
Yeah, they were playing. It was an early game. It was 3:30 Eastern, so 8:30 your time.
So that means it's tied now. It's 2-2.
It's tied now. Yeah. When I put it this way, we scored 60. When I turned it off to start this recording, we had scored 69 points, I think, or 68 the whole game, and that was what the Pacers scored in the first half. It was a complete blowout. It was a complete. Anyway. I don't know how it ended, but it was a complete blowout.
So the conference semifinals are ongoing. We're not going to go into details about them. We'll talk about them when they're done. Okay? So Akim, let's move on to our review and previews. So we can head out to So what do we have for us this week? Where do we start from?
Why don't we start with the Champions League?
Fantastic.
So
I love that.
The second legs of the semifinals happened last week. And just to remind everyone, on the first day, Bayern Munich went to Madrid to play Real.
That was the second day, actually.
Are you sure?
The first one was the PSG. PSG was on Tuesday.
Right.
PSG was the first game.
No, you're right. You're right. Because Bayern played first the last time. Yes. You're right. So, Dortmund went to PS. No, Yinka, I think you're wrong.
PSG.
I think. Are you sure? Who played first?
The first game. We can check. It doesn't matter actually. We can talk about anyone first.
So I think Bayern Real went first, but it doesn't matter. So that was interesting because the first leg was kind of explosive, right? 2-2, right? Vini busted out the gates and all that. And then this time, there was a lot of controversy, which I know you're raring to go. So I'm gonna let you take it. The referees showed out again and did what they do. VAR was like, "Oh, you think we're gonna be in Spain and not give you a taste of what happens in La Liga? Like, you must not know what you're in for." So you got take it, lay out for us what happened, and then give us your opinion on it.
So before I go into the controversial bit, I think let's talk about the footballing side first.
Okay.
For me, it was a decent game of football. One particular player stood out for me, and that was Pavlovic, the 20-year-old kid that played midfield for Bayern. If they didn't tell you this boy was 20 years old, you won't believe them. You won't believe anyone. He didn't look out of place. He played with confidence. He played with heart. He was arguably Bayern's best player on the day. I was super impressed with him, right? Bright future for the young kid. I think he's German, actually. The name, it sounds,
Eastern European.
Maybe Kroats, but I think he's German. He's a German kid. Fantastic game. Himself and Lima.
Lima has been pivot. Very consistent. He has been recently. Yeah,
he has been, and he's not a flashy player. He just does the right thing. He does it very well. The simple things, he does it very well. Yeah. Both teams kind of relied on individual brilliance. Yeah, because they were kind of knocking each other off. They were canceling each other out. And Bayern's first goal, individual brilliance by Davies, who came in for what's this Arsenal boy's name? Serge. Gnabry. Gnabry got injured again. His injury record is bad. It's crazy.
It's just
sad. They will have been world beaters without the injury record. But anyway, Davies came on. caught in very similar to the goal Vardy scored against Madrid in the earlier round. Right collar into the net, fantastic goal. Then Joselu took over, and the rest is history. We all know what happened. But I want to talk about two key things. Number one, the coach, Bayern coach Thomas Tuchel. He keeps overthinking things. Yeah, dodgy subs, crazy dodgy subs. Bringing on Müller and Choupo-Moting in a Champions League semi-final, unless Harry Kane was injured, which he wasn't. Musiala wasn't injured, and those two were tormenting Real Madrid. Yeah, Bayern could have gone ahead to make it 2. Kane and Musiala had clear chances. There was no reason for you to take them off. So what were you thinking? So if Madrid had equalized, you would have played 30 minutes with Müller and Choupo-Moting.
Without Kane. That's crazy.
Come on, man. But we all know, we know that's why he's no longer going to be Bayern.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't survive at Chelsea. Yeah. That's why he didn't survive at PSG. He does some, funny things that nobody understands from time to time. Like I said, they got out of jail, Madrid that is, and Neuer made, a mistake, an unusual one. The ball bubbled
off his chest and all that. Yeah.
And Joselu came in and pounced and scored. But now the main one you want me to talk about. So everyone that has been saying, why did FIFA or whoever, why did they bring in the rule that linesmen should let the play, the action, let it play out before, lifting their flag? Now you see why. That's why. Now, I'm not even going to blame the linesman. Yes, he has some blame. It's the ref I will blame.
I agree.
You did not have to blow.
Yep.
You didn't have to blow. Yeah? So you could have just let the game go, right? And then you let VAR do their thing. But they messed it up completely. Now, the Bayern team, they've formed the habit of kind of, what's the word? Of making this, every time we lose or we don't win,
it's the referee.
The ref told me. I'm like, where do you have these meetings with this ref that they're telling you?
It may be a language problem. I don't know.
But maybe I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get it. So Tuchel keeps saying, the ref told us that he made a mistake. I said, I've heard this before. This is exactly what you said against Arsenal. From him. From Tuchel. Why do you keep doing this? And it's very simple. It was obvious the Real Madrid goalkeeper and their defenders stopped when they heard the whistle.
Yeah. You can't give the goal.
They stopped.
You can't give the goal.
You can't give the goal. So don't make it seem as if, it's not as if you scored a goal that they cancelled. You did not score a goal. The ref blew. Yeah. It's not a goal.
Yeah.
So stop saying we had a cancelled goal. You didn't have a goal.
It wasn't a goal.
Stop that nonsense. But the officials messed up big time.
They did. They did. But we got to talk about Joselu. So this man is not even a Real Madrid player. He's on loan from Espanyol. Espanyol were relegated to
1.5 million euros option to buy.
Oh my gosh. This guy's a journeyman. He's been in the EPL, played for unglamorous clubs in the EPL.
Stoke?
Yeah, played for Stoke. Yeah.
I mentioned them. I hate them. I don't say that often.
They broke whose leg did they break? Whatever.
Aaron Ramsey.
Ramsey's
leg.
Yeah, they broke his leg. Anyway. And then, he plays for Espanyol. They're relegated. He gets loaned to Real Madrid. He comes on, I'm guessing the instruction from Carlo was go run around a little bit, see what you can do. And then what he can do is 2 goals in 2 minutes.
And he has written his name in the history of Real Madrid.
Oh my God.
He will never pay for any ticket again to come into the Bernabeu.
It's
he will
amazing.
never buy a drink in the streets of Madrid by himself anymore.
Crazy.
Right?
Crazy.
He's is legendary status for them right now.
Yeah.
Legendary status. Yeah.
So yeah, you were right, by the way. Dortmund went first, and Real
Okay.
Real went second. You were right about that. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's pause on that and talk quickly about. I kind of talked about it already, but I want to get your take on Dortmund going to Paris and doing exactly what they did at Dortmund, which was 1-0, 1-0.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming, and I love Dortmund, and I want them to do well. I didn't see that coming. What about you?
We both didn't see that coming. We predicted a Madrid PSG final, remember?
Absolutely.
And I immediately said, watch us watch an all German final.
Yeah.
But yeah. And that almost happened.
It almost
happened, if not for Yesulu.
Yeah.
PSG, in my opinion, were a total disappointment. Although both legs, they probably hit the post like 6 times.
They hit 4 times in one leg.
Yeah. And they did the same. They hit the post multiple times too in the second leg.
Yeah.
But despite that, come on now. I'm disappointed you can't score at least one goal against the Dortmund side that is not renowned for being a defensive side. Come on. Mbappe looked uninterested. Dembele was playing as if I want to do it all by myself. He was doing too much. Luis Enrique his lineup looked suspicious. Why didn't you start Marco Asensio? Why did you start a 20-year-old Brazilian? What's the young man's name? I can't remember his name. Is it Beraldo?
I forget his name.
Yeah, Beraldo paired Marquinhos at centre back, and it was Beraldo that was beaten for the Hummels header that they scored. And I'm like, Luis Enrique, you have better players that can do better things for you. You decided to leave them on the bench. So, he started a Gonzalo Ramos in the second leg. I'm like, play Asensio. Even play Mbappe probably as a false nine. Don't give him the responsibility to engage the center back.
Yeah, holding the ball, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Play him as a false nine. Give him more freedom. Then people can then run onto and he can give them balls and stuff. He needed to do something different. They played both games the same way. And the Dortmund manager looked at them and said, I will abandon the way I normally play. Yeah? And I'm going to make sure I'll make life a living hell for PSG.
Yeah.
And he succeeded. Dortmund don't play like this in their usual league, guys.
No,
that's the way Dortmund plays.
They lose 4-1. They lose 4-1 to Leipzig. That's how they play.
They go gung-ho. They are like, it's like a wild, wild west. It's a major shootout.
Yeah.
Dortmund don't play like this. So their coach said, for this Champions League game, I am going to be disciplined. We are going to be disciplined. We will not let them score. Right? Although, PSG were unlucky. Their finishing was poor.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think over the 2 legs, you will agree with me that Dortmund deserved to win.
I think Dortmund deserved to.
If you really look at it,
I can't look past our boy Karim Adeyemi. Just for me to be that young, to be that talented offensively, and to have the tactical discipline to do exactly what the coach said go do, because the work he did helping his fullback on Dembele, for me, it was pretty much the key to both legs, and he did it over 180 plus minutes. So I'm so impressed by him. And now I'm gonna take my victory lap on Jadon Sancho because my man showed up and showed out. But
in the first leg,
that was when
he didn't do that much.
That was when the time was
second leg.
Don't play with me.
No. So I'm just saying, you've already taken your lap last week, so you don't need to take another lap this week.
I'm sorry.
You don't need to take another lap this week.
Who is going to the Champions League final? Is anyone at Man U going to the Champions League final? I don't think so. Anyway, no, but what I was gonna say is, it is, and this is actually a serious topic. It's obvious to me that there was something going on with him from a mental health psychological, whatever. I don't want to speculate, but it's obvious something was going on. And for me, it's like, when someone is going through something so big, so seismic, they can't even come to work. What do you do as an employer? So, I mean, the words that came out of Ten Hag's mouth, in my opinion, should not have. When you know someone is dealing with something, there's no need. That whole, will he apologize? Will he not apologize? All that stuff that happens. Like, up till today, Yinka, you and I don't know, and we read a lot of sources. We don't know the words that were spoken between Aubameyang and Arteta. We have no idea because it did not leak out of the Arsenal dressing room.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know, are you running a professional organization or are you just running a free-for-all daycare?
Yeah.
So you can't take care of your players. It's crazy. But sorry, go ahead, Nka.
So I agree with you, but I have a slightly different perspective on Jadon.
Okay.
So while he was at City, he was the best player in the academy.
Yeah.
While he went to Dortmund, they didn't give him any defensive duties. Just be on the pitch, do your thing. We have workaholics that will cover you. Just work your magic and get stuff done for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a culture shock for him when he got to United. And they were like, you're a commoner here. Yeah? And he didn't take it well. It didn't register well with him. He could not internalize it properly. And he just kind of lost his way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? And this is where man management comes into play. So if you knew, and this is what I told you then, if United knew that you were buying a winger that you needed to track back and cover, then you shouldn't have paid 70-something million pounds for Jadon Sancho.
73, whatever it is, million.
Whatever amount they bought him for. You shouldn't have paid that for him because that's not in him. He can give you that on an occasional basis, maybe one game here, second game there, but you expect him to do that every day? No, that's not in his DNA. And if you're going to mold him, you need a buy-in from the player. You and I say once you're 16, you're defined as a man, as a woman, as a human being, right? If you're going to mold someone, then that buy-in needs to be there, right? So I think between Ten Hag and his Dutch stubbornness and Jadon and his is me. I'm the main person here.
I'm the man.
There was a lot of they just didn't align.
Okay.
And once there is a misalignment in objectives, there's going to be disaster, which is exactly what happened at United.
Okay. So I think both things can be true, right?
Yeah.
And they could feed each other. So it could be, things not going well at work affects your mental health. Mental health problems make things not go well at work. But I'll give you a few examples.
I totally agree.
Jack Grealish never did any defensive duty at Aston Villa.
At Villa.
Worse, Yinka, he was positionless at Villa.
Yep.
He was a roaming midfielder, roaming attacker, roaming winger. He did whatever the hell he wanted. He had the total freedom. And yet, Pep paid 100 million for him.
Yep.
And restructured him into something else. So we have seen this happen before, Yep. But again, and then we've seen it not succeed. Nicola Pepe, for example, at Arsenal.
Yep.
That's why Saka went from left back to right winger. Saka had never played right winger before. He had played striker, but he hadn't played right winger. So they put him at right winger because he's always defensively switched on. Even when he's having a bad game offensively, even when he can't run past someone, he will run back and be the first person to cut out.
In the academies, he was always a right winger.
So he wasn't on the left.
It was when he came into when he came into the main team that he started off playing left back.
Yeah, no, I know he was an attacking player in the academy, but I didn't know he was on the right.
He was always a right winger.
I didn't know he was on
the
right
academy.
Wing.
Yeah, he was always a right winger.
They gave up a guy they paid 72 million for him because that's exactly what the coach wanted. But anyway, all right.
Yeah.
So who's gonna win the Champions League?
Can I say Dortmund at this point?
Sure.
Because Dortmund has already won.
Yes, true.
Either way, they get paid.
Oh yes, we should talk about that.
Either way, they get paid. You know, maybe you go ahead and explain to our listeners what this is about.
So Dortmund obviously sold what's his name again? Bellingham.
Jude
Bellingham.
Yeah.
To Real. And there's a clause in his contract, in the contract of sale, that if they make the final, I'm not even sure they have to win.
Yeah.
If they make the final, they get another, is it 5 million or whatever it is? And then I think if they win the final,
they get 20. Yeah. So altogether, yeah. It's 25 million.
Yeah. So if you add what they're gonna make as finalists, plus from UEFA, plus what Real, their opponent, are gonna pay them, they will actually make more money. You know, even whether win or lose. But anyway, so I thought that was interesting. But who's gonna win? Do you think Dortmund have a shot?
Of course they do. It's one game. Okay. It's one game. It's neutral ground
at Wembley.
If whoever the centre back is decides to do an Araujo and gets sent off, you see, that's the thing. Yeah. Because I tell you, cup football, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. It's one game, right? Madrid can just come and they will have their worst day ever. And Dortmund might come and they will have their best day ever.
Very true.
But if you ask me to answer this question, I think it's Madrid's to lose. I think it's Madrid's to lose. They have the firepower, the composure in midfield. We didn't talk about Toni Kroos, but the guy is just getting better with age. Toni Kroos had this semi-final. He was probably Real Madrid's best player, both legs. Right? So you have a Kroos, imagine if Tchouaméni is not working, you can bring in Modric, you have a Freddy Valverde, you have Camavinga. Come on.
Carvajal. You know, it's so funny.
I think it's Madrid's to lose.
I think so too. So
I think it's Madrid's.
Something came to mind when you were talking about the PSG coach Enrique's inflexibility. And I thought about Carlo Ancelotti's flexibility, right? Because if you think about it, he has two out-and-out forwards, right? I won't call them out-and-out strikers, but out-and-out forwards. Rodrigo on one side, Vini on the other. Technically, I think Rodrigo also prefers to attack from the left, if he had a choice.
Yep.
You know, yeah.
Yep.
So they both prefer to attack from the left, but of course, you give the better older player the first dips or whatever. So somehow, I don't know if people talk about this enough. Carlo has found a way to kind of turn them into like two inside forwards, if that makes sense, in many instances, and not just pure wingers. And I'm like, so when you talked about, hey, Mbappe could have played false nine, I thought about that. I'm like, why don't you do that with Dembele and Mbappe? You could have done that. You know, what this guy does with Rodrigo and Vini, with Bellingham kind of playing false nine a lot of the time, even if he doesn't start there.
Yep.
You know, so I'm like, a 60-plus-year-old man is more flexible than you. It's not a good look.
It's not a good look at all. And I've always said this about Luis Enrique. He's stubborn. He is too stubborn, and he's set in his ways, very opinionated. This is how I want to do stuff. You can't survive as a coach that way. You need to be flexible. You need to look at what's happening, and you need to be malleable, and change your situation based on the environment that you find yourself in. But he doesn't know how to do that. Ancelotti, by the way, fantastic coach. You look at his current Real Madrid, they are playing a completely different style of football than his AC Milan teams, So, do you understand? So that means this is not a
first
coach.
Madrid.
This is
his
a coach.
First Madrid teams. Yeah.
Or his first Madrid. or even the Chelsea team, or
Yeah.
anybody you want to pick. This Madrid team is looking
Or
at,
his
these are the
Fiorentina
players that I
teams
have.
from back in the day. They were just, yeah.
Exactly. So you give it to
Yeah.
him. This is a sign of someone that knows what he's doing. Yeah. So I think Madrid will win. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's
So
move on
I think
to
we've done
the
this to death and we should move
Europa
on.
Europa League. Yeah, where your favorite team,
Yeah.
they did it once again. Leverkusen at
Amazing.
this point, so they are on 50 games unbeaten right now because they won today 5-0. So in the
One more game, right?
Europa
Is
semi-finals,
one more game?
away to
Yeah.
who were they playing again?
Roma.
They were playing, yeah, it was Roma. It was Roma. So they played Roma. They were down 2-0 at home to 2 penalties. Roma scored 2 penalties. Then they pulled one back in the 82nd minute. And Roma were trying to, score score another goal so they could get the game into extra time and probably into penalties. And as usual, in the 97th minute, the 7th minute of time added on, and the total time that was added was 8 or 9, or I can't remember.
Yeah.
There you go again. Leverkusen, lovely goal. I think it was Pasanic or so. Scored in the 97th minute to keep their unbeaten season going. So
That's
even if they
crazy.
had not equalized to make it 2-2, they would still have gone through because it was then going to be 2-1, 2-0, but they would have lost the game for the first time. But they're like, no, we don't want to lose.
We're not doing it.
We won. We're not doing. We don't lose. We don't know how to lose. Yeah. So some thumbs up to them. I like the fact that Xabi Alonso has turned down everybody and said, I'm going to stay with this team at least for one extra year, and I want to play Champions League with this team. And I think the owners too have backed him to say, unless ridiculous offers come for our star players, we are not letting anybody go. We will add to this team and make this team better and see what we can do with this team. So I'm happy for them. On the other side, Atlanta smacked Marseille 3-0. It's big time smacking. So Atlanta, Leverkusen, and Europa League final.
In the final.
And for me, I think Leverkusen is going to win.
It will
I think they're going to go this whole season unbeaten.
Yeah, it will be heartbreaking if they don't finish the job. How many more games do they have in the Bundesliga after today? Is it one?
One.
Okay.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just one.
I'm rooting for them.
I can even tell you where they're going. I think they should be at home, actually. It's going to be a home game. It's not because today's game was away. Okay. They won 5-0. So it's going to be a home game. I can check later. Yeah. Okay. So our usual tour of Europe, Aki, we're not talking about the other 4 leagues that have been decided. So we just dedicate the rest of the time we have to talk about the EPL. I can see you're salivating. You're looking forward to this. But before you tear into the people you want to tear into,
me never.
I know you. I know you. Come on, young man. Been knowing you since 1991. I know what you're about to do. Don't worry. So Burnley and Sheffield are relegated. Fulham were almost safe. They were leading 2-1 to Chelsea. Chelsea came back and scored, and they got the winner 3-2.
What you mean, Forest? Forest?
Not Forest.
Forest, yeah.
No, it was Forest Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah.
So Forest Chelsea. Forest were leading 2-1. Then Chelsea equalized. Then Chelsea scored the winner.
Yeah.
Unless there's a massive collapse on the last day. Jackson scored. Yes. Yeah. He's cut his hair now, so he's doing well. He's doing fine. He's doing fine. So unless there's a massive breakdown, massive collapse on the last day, I think Forest should be fine. They need to lose significantly, and for Luton to win significantly, for Luton to overtake them. So I don't think that's happening. So I think Luton is going down. And the relegation battle is
one second. Luton were up. I was watching the game. Luton were up 1-0. I was feeling excited. I'm like, one of my pet teams may actually make it. Because Burnley had already lost to Tottenham. But then, They ended up losing. So that didn't
Yeah,
happen.
West Ham ended up beating them 3-1.
Yeah, sad.
Which was quite sad.
Really sad.
I like Luton actually. They play good football. So what is still up for grabs right now will be the winner of the league itself, and then the Champions League and Europa League positions.
Yeah.
They are all up for grabs based on what happens tomorrow, Tuesday, and on Sunday. Okay? City smacked Fulham like that was major demolition. You were looking to Fulham to give you a helping hand.
I was.
Oh my God. It wasn't even close. All of a sudden, Joseph Guardiola is looking like a prime Roberto Carlos. You know? And he's just scoring. He had 2 goals against Fulham. I think he scored against Forest and he scored against Madrid. So he has like 4 or 5 goals in like 2 or 3 games or thereabout. You know? But City are not letting off. They've not lost any game in 2024.
Okay. So first, Yinka, how many games have Arsenal lost in 2024 in the league?
1.
How many have they drawn?
None.
1 to City.
To City, yeah. To City 1.
So they played 17 times in the Premier League in 2024. Yeah. They won 15. Yes. They lost 1. They drew 1. How many have City lost in the Premier League in 2024?
None.
0. And those are the standards.
And that's the difference.
That's the difference. Yep. So,
that's
again, I'm a partisan here. I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't want to hear anything from anyone about bottling. When Arsenal bottle, I will be the first to come here and tell you they did. Not this year. Yinka, when I did my bottling segment, and I think you had asked me, what are my expectations? I said my expectations were a month to go, we're still in it. That's all I wanted. Because guess what? 2 seasons in a row now we've been in it. At the beginning of last season, nobody expected us to do anything. I did, though. I did, because I saw them in preseason, right? And then at the beginning of this season, everyone said, oh yeah, that was a one-time thing. It's never going to happen again.
That was a fluke.
And I said, no. No. We are going to be there because X, Y, and Z, right? So I don't want to keep the consistency. As you would say, keep the same energy. Keep the consistency, keep the same energy, right? So, so that's my first point. My second point, you said I was going to bash some people. You were right. I will bash Chelsea right now. So, Vardio was on 2 goals in the history of the Premiership. As you know, football started in 1992, according to these people.
According to
when the old First Division became the Premiership, and God descended from heaven and let me stop. Anyway, so in the history of the Premiership or football, nominal defenders never scored a hat-trick. Right? Never scored a hat-trick. Vardio was sitting on a hat-trick. He had scored 2 goals, and then there was a penalty. Do you remember when some of our friends at Chelsea met at the penalty spot and decided to have a little chit-chat at the penalty spot?
No, they had to do rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. You remember the embarrassment of it all? Guess who did not do that? Now, a real leader, remember when Chelsea used to have real leaders? I'll tell you a Chelsea story real quick. But anyway, a real leader in Kyle Walker went up to the kid and said, would you like to take this and get your hat trick? And he's like, no, the coach has already decided who takes penalties. We have goals difference against Arsenal to make up.
Yep.
Let's keep the proper protocol. Let me tell you what used to happen at Chelsea. This was, maybe I don't watch enough ball, but Chelsea did something. Azpilicueta did something that I would never forget. I don't remember who they were playing, right? He was not a penalty taker. It was the first time I ever saw anyone do this. He took the ball and went to the penalty spot while they were doing VAR checks or all the shenanigans. And then when they were done, he gave it up to the actual penalty taker. And I was so jealous that day because this was when Arsenal was still mired in ridiculousness. And I'm like, man, this is a real team, a real club. I was so jealous. Real leadership, a real captain, not Aubameyang. I think Aubameyang was Arsenal captain at the time. So I'm like, how do you go from Aspilicueta, from that kind of leadership? And I don't want to disparage their current captain. I actually really like him as a player, but he's just not at the same level. But anyway,
Yeah.
At City, these things don't happen. That's why they win. I'm done.
Nice. I like that. You still found a way to bash City.
Chelsea,
or Chelsea rather. But a couple of things I want to bring people's attention to, and it has to do with Arsenal, right? So the game they won today made it the 27th win of the season. This is a record in the club's history. They've never won 27 games in a 38-game season before.
Yeah.
The last time they won 27 games was in 1970-71 season. And then you had 42 games.
Wow.
Not 38.
Wow.
Yeah? So that means Arteta made history today. The only problem is there is, like I said last week, a Goliath in front of him.
Yeah.
So for everybody saying, fire Arteta, keep that in mind.
It's crazy to me.
This is the most goal Arsenal has ever scored in a season. They're on 89 and they have one more game to go.
City has scored more now. City has 91 now. Yeah.
No, I'm saying in Arsenal's history.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So the record was 87, scored in 04-05. Yeah? If you beat Everton on Sunday, Arsenal will end up on 89
points.
Yeah?
Yeah.
89 points. That is the second highest ever.
After the Invincibles.
They had 90 in 03-04.
Yeah, they had 90.
So basically, this is Arsenal's best team in 20 years. So anybody that says he should be fired after this season because Arsenal didn't win anything, they need to just check into, you know where we tell people like that to check into.
Yeah.
They need to get their
brains checked. I think you may have missed one.
They need to get their brains checked.
I'm going to guess this is the fewest goals conceded, at least in Premier League
Probably
history, for Arsenal. 28
Probably
now.
is for Arsenal.
Yeah, for Arsenal.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Probably is. Yeah. So the problem that the team has right now is there is a major disparity between the first 11 or 14 players and 15 to 25.
Absolutely.
And it will take time to get everybody right from 1 to 25. City have like 1 to 30.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with.
Very well said.
Now, the game that was played today, a lot of people said, oh, Arsenal didn't play well, blah, 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 blah. By the way, I'm wearing a United jersey today.
Yes, let's do a quick jersey check. I'm wearing... So you're wearing a United jersey from what year? Do you know what year?
Is this year?
This year? Oh, it's okay. It kind of looks old school, actually. It looks
the team viewer jerseys this year.
So I have on a basketball jersey from the old Blazers. It's actually a retro Portland Trail Blazer
one with
jersey.
The Blazers on the height.
Yeah, and it's Sharif Abdul-Rahim. Remember him?
Wow. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, so anyway.
Oh, wait,
is it Sharif Abdul?
That's cool.
Or is it Rashid Wallace? Who am I wearing? What number is this? That means because I have both of their jerseys.
See. That's 30. That's 33.
This out of the way. 33.
So that's probably Rashid Wallace.
Yeah, let me see.
That's Wallace.
I need to get this right. But go ahead, Yinka. Keep talking.
I think it's Wallace you're wearing.
You think it's Wallace?
So, I think it's Wallace. Right. So the game that was played earlier on today, and I mean, I saw a lot of pundits say, oh, Arsenal didn't play well, but the 3 points that mattered. I'm like, I watched the game. You also watched the game. Did United really have any clear goal scoring chance? Can you remember? Can you
Define,
remember?
define,
Can you
define clear.
remember? Can you remember Raya making any save per se?
Okay. So one, it's Sharif Abdurrahim. I was
Oh,
right.
okay.
Two, I actually think well, I think I think they didn't. Well, I think Garnacho was very active. I thought he played really, really well. Um, he gave Ben White kind of a torrid time, and what's his name? Saka had to help out a few times. But you're right. The one you wouldn't see it register really as shots on goal, because it's still young, and his
No.
marksmanship.
So this is not the Ganacho bashing at all.
No, no, no,
I
no.
love the young man,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
did a good job, right? But I remember vividly Onana making multiple saves,
Great saves. He had 5 saves total.
great
Three of
saves.
them were like top notch. Yeah.
Martinelli, Rice, those were balls that should have scored
Oh yeah.
actually.
Oh yeah.
Now, I say this because this is a different Arsenal team.
Mm.
This is an Arsenal team that is saying, you know what, we're going to be disciplined, right? All we want to do is make sure we leave this place without conceding and getting our 3 points intact.
Yeah. Fair
Yeah?
point.
Arsenal team of yesteryears, come on, this would be like a 3-3 or 3-2 loss or win,
Yeah.
So I'm saying I would rather play this disciplined football, get the 3 points, right, than go there, play all I want and still end up losing. Football is not boxing where you're giving points for how you play.
You gotta score
It's
goals.
not.
You gotta score goals.
You gotta score
You gotta
goals and you
prevent the
need to
other guy.
defend.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I watched the game that I watched was different, was probably different for what most people saw, right? And there's one more person I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about him now because he's on my nomination for Donkey of the Week,
Ooh.
right?
I know who it is.
Yes, he is.
Ugh,
You know who it is.
I know who it is.
You know who it is.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you look at the table right now, Aki, Chelsea are above United.
They are.
And for all the grief you and I that we've given Chelsea this season, God.
Oh my goodness.
So right now, United have 2 games left. I'm checking this on my phone.
Yeah.
They have 2 games left. They're on 54 points.
Yeah.
So in fact, Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea, United all have 2 games left. Spurs is on 63. United is 54. So that means United, there is no way United can make Europe next season.
9 points. Nah, not going to happen.
So I don't know which positions go for the Conference League again. Is it only 6th or 6th?
Let me see. It doesn't say. I don't know. Conference.
So right now, Chelsea, United, and Newcastle, probably even West Ham, are battling for the Conference League. If Liverpool beat Villa tomorrow, that means Spurs can still make the Champions League position.
Yeah. So 6th goes to the Conference League.
Only 6.
Only 6.
So right now it's between Newcastle, Chelsea, and United.
Do you think
guys
any of them want to go though? You think any of them want to play the Conference League? I don't think so.
I don't know. Frankly, I don't know. But cumulatively, with the money that they've spent, they're battling for Conference League.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. Now, if Liverpool beat Villa, that means Spurs needs to win their last 2 games. They can overtake Villa. Now, I'm going to talk about this shortly, but just to give you a peek, Spurs will have a difficult decision to make on Tuesday. Do we want to help Arsenal win the league, or we will forfeit our Champions League football?
Go on.
What do you think they will do?
So, one, I think let's see what happens on Monday. I mean, by the time people watch this, it would have happened already. Villa,
Yeah,
Liverpool. I think are Liverpool guaranteed third at this point? Are they guaranteed? They are guaranteed. They're gonna come third. At least. They're gonna come third. They can't come fourth at this point.
They can't come. Yeah.
Okay. So Liverpool literally have nothing to play for except it's and I think it's their home, right? Liverpool is home.
No, they're away to Villa.
They're away to Villa. Okay, so you can't even say it's Klopp's last home game. So it's Klopp's last game.
Yeah.
Villa have something to play for.
No, it's not their last game. Their last game is at home on Sunday.
Oh, my bad. Yes, you're right. Yeah,
so
Villa do have something to play for. Right?
Everything to play for.
Villa have everything to play for. So, and then they go again on Sunday. So I would say there's 4 points between Villa. If Villa lose and Tottenham beat, I can't even say this with a straight face. Tottenham beat
City.
And then it's all to play for on Sunday. But let me make the case for Spurs versus City. So number one, I call their new stadium the Toilet Bowl. So excuse me. At the Toilet Bowl, City have never scored in the league. They won there in the cup, but they haven't scored in the league. So that is actually a thing. Yinka, you and I have joked a lot about how City always falter at Tottenham over the last several seasons. That's another thing. But City are just so much better and so much more focused, and they don't have Champions League. They're not tired. Everyone's healthy. So it's really hard to see, but you can make the case. And when you have speed, right? City doesn't do well. Their defense doesn't do well with speed. This is just the reality of it. You know, when you have people running at them, City are better rough. For me, I feel like that's what happened to them in Europe. You know, that thing you always say about in La Liga people just let you play or whatever. When you let City play, they just take you apart. But when you're coming at them with speed, you know, all of a sudden playing 4 big defenders across the back line doesn't sound that great, because what you lose lateral quickness, you lose a lot of stuff. But we're not going to get too deep into that. So I feel like there's something there. The problem is, see, if Spurs had Pochettino as a coach, I would have more faith. But with Postecoglou, he's gonna play a suicidal high line and just leave it to chance. So yes, there is a chance. Literally, there is a chance. Will it happen?
So what you're saying is the effort will be there. They're not gonna forfeit the game.
No. They're not. They're professionals. I mean, why would they forfeit the game? They're professionals. I don't think.
But their fans are clamoring for them to do that.
But their fans are idiots. So their fans are idiots. You know, no, but like I said, look, when they went to the Champions League finals, when Spurs went to the Champions League final against Real Madrid, every Arsenal fan was crying in their bowl of cereal or whatever. Like, if these people win, we are done. Because Arsenal do not have a Champions League. We are done. It's bad enough that Chelsea have 2, but Spurs cannot win the Champions League before Arsenal. But you know what we did not do? We didn't go online and start making fools of ourselves. We just cried quietly in a corner somewhere. So,
and when they lost, we came out to mock them.
Yeah, we came out and we celebrated like we won. But to say someone is coming to your house and you'd rather lose to them so Arsenal doesn't win the league, that's beyond the pale. I can't imagine a situation where Arsenal home crowd will be okay losing a home game just so Spurs doesn't win the league. I can't imagine it. I'm sorry. I can't imagine. Can you imagine it?
No, I can't.
I can't. No, I can't imagine it.
I can't. But anyway, that's how it is. So the league is the situation is finally, poised right now. Monday, Tuesday, there are games, very, very important games. So we'll see how it goes. And the final game is a week from now on Sunday. I think Spurs go to Sheffield, who are already relegated, so that's a guaranteed 3 points for them. But Villa, on the other hand, they go to Palace, and Palace are on the roll right now. So it will be stupid of Spurs to forfeit the game on Tuesday. It will be stupid of them to do that. Anyway, any other take on any of the games that you watched that you want to talk about?
So I thought the Man U Arsenal game, I thought Arteta pretty much went into the game the same way he went into Liverpool away and City away.
City away.
Which is, don't really care about possession. Keep it tight, keep it compact.
Even Spurs away.
Yeah. Even Spurs away to an extent. We got, and then be clinical when you get the ball.
Yeah.
The goal, I know you don't want to talk about a goal yet, but I wouldn't say it was lucky, but I would say that's another thing. Like when you're switched on and you're smart. Number one, when you're recruiting, buy smart players.
Yeah.
Kai Havertz is a smart player. And then when you get your smart player, drill them. Let them know. So I don't know if you saw this. There was an interview in the mix zone or whatever with he and this goal scorer. What's his name?
Trossard.
And Kai Havertz said, I called Ben. So that pass was not Ben saw him. He called for the ball.
Yeah.
This was over
he called for the ball.
20 yards. It's like I called Ben. He knew he wasn't offside.
And he knew he was onside.
Yeah,
exactly.
He knew he wasn't offside. So I'm just thinking of all the things he's processing in his head at the same time. You gotta sign smart players, and then drill them. So what you have, every player on City is smart. They don't buy dumb players. Even the ones you might think, oh, Grealish is loosey-goosey, he speaks, loosely, he does. No. He's
a smart football player.
He processes information. Jeremy Doku may be like loosey-goosey with his play, but he's smart. He knows where the ball's coming from and where the ball is going all the time. So anyway, that was my point.
So to wrap this up, Thomas Partey had one of his worst games for Arsenal in recent times. And there's this rumor that has refused to go away of Bruno Guimaraes having a release clause of £100 million or thereabout. And in the last game that they had, Newcastle played, I think that was their last home game, he sat on the pitch and he was crying. And a lot of people were like, what's going on here? Is he leaving? So what's your take on Guimaraes to Arsenal, if that's anything?
So, I at this point in the game, I would never doubt Arteta, right? Even with my disappointment of what happened this time last year, I didn't doubt any of his summer signings. I was the first to be like, look, I can see Kai Havertz. I can see my way to Kai Havertz. I don't know if the midfield thing is going to work, but I want that guy, because again, I love this movement. I love this height, all of that. I'm like, you know what? Let's keep doing things like this. And of course, I was all in on Rice. I was all in on Yuri and Timber. Yeah. This would be difficult for me. And the reason is I love the player. I don't like his attitude. I don't like going onto the field and trying to injure players. That's not what Arsenal does. That's not what anyone should do. And then when I think about the components of your midfield, the things you like about him, Rice does it already. So Rice himself still thinks he's better as a 6. When David Moyes was interviewed last week, like, hey, why did you all get smacked? He said, because we don't have Declan Rice. Right? So I think Arteta's plan is for Rice to end up as a 8, which is fine. He's scoring goals, he's running all around. God bless him, whatever. Right? But you'll be bringing in Bruno, whose best position is pretty much a 6, right? In the old days, both of them would have been shuttling midfielders. Today, you either sit or you split wide. That's what everybody does, right? So we'll have 2 6s it's obvious that's how Arteta wants to play. Jorginho should not play more than 5 important games a season. Ideally, it shouldn't play any game that matters, right? Ideally. It's obvious Partey cannot play any with any kind of consistency. He's had excellent games, like against Bournemouth, like against Spurs, and then he's had a stinker.
Against Chelsea.
Chelsea. Everything he touched today was a mistake, including in his own box, including the penalty that could have been a penalty. But thankfully, I think Ahmad stepped on him. That was what saved him. Because I want to be consistent, Yinka. I said that goalkeeper last week had no business putting his leg out. Partey today had no business putting his leg out. Whatever happens after that happens. But he just got lucky that Ahmad actually stepped.
And he got the ball.
Yeah, he got the ball. That's true.
He got the ball too.
But for me, even if he got the ball, if he had tripped that guy, that's a penalty. Even if you're not allowed to trip someone. But fortunately, the guy stepped on him. And, so anyway, so for 100 million, I probably wouldn't do it. For 60?
Okay, we'll see. We have enough time over the summer to talk about, rumors, transfer rumors, and the rest of it. So I think that wraps up our review and preview.
Yes, pretty much.
Of the week. And, so I can I wrap this up with my donkey of the week now?
Go with donkey of the week, please.
I'm kind of raring to go.
Yeah, please, go for it.
Okay, so I have 3 nominees this week. Okay? The first nominee will be Spurs fans.
Oh, Lord. Help me.
Spurs fans. I did not like them before, but now I just feel sorry for them. I'm sorry. I just feel sorry for them.
Oh, Lord.
What level of foolishness and stupidity is wanting your team to fail just because you want your rivals to also fail? I told you this thing last week. Thought I was joking. Spurs fans are actually clamoring for their coach to feel they beat him against City, or just forfeit the game or not show up for the game, just because they don't want to be the reason why Arsenal will have a shot at winning the league. If success to you only means failures to your rivals, then you need to reassess why you're a fan to even start with. Someone actually said if City beat that, if Arsenal had lost today to United and City come to the toilet bowl and they beat Spurs, that they will actually run onto the pitch and
celebrate.
Join City in celebrating because City would have won the league at toilet bowl. I was shocked. I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? Is this, God, is this how fans should behave? Can you help me out?
I don't know what
to
tell you.
Is this how fans should behave?
I've always, I've only ever met one Spurs fan in my life. I went to law school with him. Otherwise, great guy, right? Nigerian cat, right? And I'm like, he's a great guy. I don't get it. Right. And then I saw a guy once, like 3 months ago. I'm flying. He has a Spurs backpack on, and I felt sorry for him. So I don't really know any Spurs fans, right? But if the ones we see on social media, on YouTube, are anything like the rest of them, then I'm not surprised.
Nah.
But go on, Yinka. Go on.
Wow.
Go on.
So they've unlocked the highest level of foolishness, of stupidity, of... But so you raised a good point. I'm not saying this is all sports fans.
Yeah.
But the few sports fans that I see and I come across, this is their thought process. This is how they're thinking.
Sad.
If this is how the rest of the fan base is thinking, anyway, sports fans, you're my first nomination.
Okay.
Nominee number two is a man called Simon Masiniak.
I do not know this guy. Who is this?
This is the ref for the Bayern.
Ooh. I'm like, wait, is there a player I don't know? I'm like, my heart skipped a little bit. I'm like, is it 13? Is it the next big thing? Like, what are we doing?
His name is Simon Masniak. I had to go get his name because
Oh
I
my
didn't just want to
God.
call him the ref.
The ref
I just
from
want
the
to refer
Bayern
to
game.
him as the ref against. Yeah. So that's his name.
Okay.
That is his name, right? This is the reason why it is these are basics of refereeing. They've told you, hold your whistle, let the game play out. Why he was so eager to blow, I don't know. And he otherwise just put a minor dent on a game or a very, very good game that we all enjoyed.
Yeah.
He gave Tuchel the opportunity to say all sorts of, nonsense, if I can put it that way. Yeah. So please, Mr. Simon Masiniak, don't ever do that again. I'm not sure if you will near any Champions League game anytime soon with that mess up. You're probably relegated to whatever league that you're officiating. But you are my second nominee for Donkey of the Week.
Yinka, if UEFA is anything like the EPL, they might relegate him to the conference finals.
Or UEFA Youth Champions League final.
Oh my God, let me stop.
Youth Championship final. The guy, he really, really messed up. So that's number 2.
Okay.
And nominee number 3, which is why I'm wearing a United jersey today, is for our very good friend, Mr. Casemiro. So let's rewind a bit. Monday.
Yeah.
Was it Monday?
It was Monday.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it was Monday.
Crystal Palace United. He was personally responsible for at least 2 goals.
2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. And it's not as if he was dribbled past. No, he goofed. There was one of them where he was trying to shield the ball at the byline, and someone just took the ball off him, and he feigned injury and was like, "Oh, my leg." And the ref was like, "Get up, nothing happened to you." Right? That's one. Number 2, today, Akin, I wasn't a defender, but there were some games I've played as a defender when I was younger. Yeah? Rule number 1, if you are the center back, maintain your back line.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing that can happen if these 2 center backs push up and there's a right back that's forgotten himself and is just there looking and someone beats the offside trap on the other side, that's clean. It's a clean goal. That guy is going straight towards your goal. For whatever reason, why was Casemiro close to Onana on that play?
It was yards
Why was he
behind
closer
the
to
line.
Onana? Why was he closer to Onana than to Jones or Evans, rather, who was your center back pairing?
Yeah.
And why also did Evans, I'm not going to blame Evans as much, but why wasn't he like, sorry, where's this dude?
Wave him up.
Pairing?
Yeah, wave him up.
Wave him up. This is where communication matters a lot, right? But, Mr. Casemiro, it seems as if he does not want to be at United anymore.
Wow. Okay.
That's the way I see it. Because the only reason why you will be back there is attitude related. It's not because you don't know. I don't want to believe a World Cup, Champions League. He hasn't won the World Cup, has he?
No, Brazil.
No, he hasn't. But a Champions League winner, multiple Champions League winner, will not know about this basic act of football. So it's one of 2 things. It is either he's like me, Casemiro, playing centre back. Nah.
Did he ever play?
It's either that.
Did he ever play centre back for Brazil or for Ronaldo? Okay,
No.
so again, why are you playing him? Why not McTominay? I think McTominay would do a better job. And it's bigger.
Or play the young boy that came up, the Kambuala guy or whatever. Just play him
for
as
me,
a centre back.
I blame the coach from that one. And after Monday, why is he back there again today? But go ahead, Yinka.
Okay, so I just didn't want to bring ETH back for the third time.
You could have.
As a nominee, but he's also culpable to some extent here.
Yes.
But you are a footballer. This is your job. These are the basics of football. You should know better. And if you're not interested in playing, just tell the coach, you know what? I want to go back to Brazil. I'm not interested in playing. Thiago Silva is going back to Brazil, isn't he? But see what he's giving for Chelsea this season. He's playing. I'm sure he's irritated every time he steps onto the pitch and he's looking at all these small boys misbehave and he's like, man,
Why am I here?
Why am I here? But he's a professional and he's doing what he's supposed to do. But you, because they've asked you to play centre back, you decide to now mess things up for your team. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Right? And I won't be shocked if he's offloaded by the end of the season. His contract hasn't expired yet. He has a high wage bill. United will need to take a massive L on this one, right? Absorb the rest of his contract and just ask him to go. Because Casemiro looks a shadow. What am I saying? Is there anything worse than a shadow? It looks completely the opposite of the Casemiro that left Real Madrid 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
A complete opposite. Is that his fault? I want to believe so. Maybe ETH is also responsible for that. There's some arguments, and anybody that argues that way, I'll probably agree with them also, right? But Casemiro, the last 2 games for United is not worthy of your status as a player. And I mean, I think that's an embarrassment, especially today's goal. Today's goal should not happen. It should not happen. It should not happen. So Casemiro is my 3rd nominee for Donkey of the Week. Now, the winner is a tight one.
Really?
Very, very tight one.
Okay.
So tell me, who do you think the winner is?
Casemiro. Come on now. I mean, 2 games in 1 week.
I'm torn between Casemiro
but in terms of
and Spurs
gravity,
fans.
the referee did his on a...
No, not even the ref. The ref, I give him a slap on the wrist. I've seen worse errors. Do you understand?
Yeah.
With the ref. Is the Spurs fan is what I can't...
You know what?
I don't understand it. I just don't get it.
I think the reason I didn't say Spurs fans is I expect that from them.
You know that's what they
I just
do, right?
expect that from them. So I'm like, but you're right. Objectively, that is the craziest thing I ever heard. Objectively.
That is the craziest thing. But you're right, Casemiro wins.
Yeah,
I
he should win.
Casemiro is my Donkey of the Week. Because he did it twice. Twice.
Can I say 2 things before we wrap?
Yeah.
So one is I felt bad for Man U fans today. And I say this as a member of the football fraternity in general. When they beat us 8-2, remember the 8-2 however many years ago?
How can I forget?
Okay. And then the 6-1s and 5-1s by Chelsea and Liverpool and 6-3s by City. These are real scores, by the way. I'm not just making them up. Everyone who had decent players beat us 6-1 or 5-1 or 4-0 or whatever, right?
Yep.
What Wenger used to do right after was just tighten it up, play a double pivot. The very next game. Let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it tight. That's what Ten Hag was doing today, And so my heart went out to that because I'm like, this is sad. You go lose at Crystal Palace, 4-0. I'm sorry, they're not good. They shouldn't be. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, I like Oyland a lot. The kid, I wouldn't have paid however much they paid for him, but that's the going rate now. It is where I like him a lot. To be honest, he gave us trouble, right? And he gave 2 excellent defenders trouble. He's really good.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Højlund must have looked across and thought, hey, Eze and Olise, I could use them. Because Eze and Olise will walk right into that Man U team. Into that team. And I think that's where Man U should start their rebuild. Go dump a bunch of money at Crystal Palace. They can't resist it, And unlike City or Arsenal or Liverpool, who cannot guarantee Eze and Olise a starting spot, you guys can. That's how you do your rebuild. Go and buy those 2 right now.
So I can hear you, but I slightly disagree with you.
Go for it.
And I'll tell you why. First of all, you need to define what your identity is as a football club.
I know.
Because remember, Eze and Olise are the flair players, right? For Crystal Palace, they have a bunch of workaholics behind
I know.
them. Do you have the same?
I know. You can figure
You
that out.
don't necessarily have the same.
You can figure.
So it's you are making the same mistake. That is why they put 85 million on what's his name? On Anthony, because when he was at Ajax, he was a flash in the pan, right? He was doing legovers and stuff. He's only had 1 goal, 1 assist this season.
One Premier
Anthony,
League goal.
1 goal,
One Premier League goal.
1 Premier League goal, 1 assist.
So when it came
Yeah?
on today, I was worried. I'm like, God, let this not be the day scores his second.
Don't let this be the day that
Day scores his second. I'm like, that would be the most Arsenal thing. But see, that's the thing. Old habits, right? So every time I say, oh, that's an Arsenal thing now, I'm like, but it hasn't been in like 2 seasons. But I still can't.
Yeah.
My brain still tells me this is what we do. So anyway.
I hear you. United, they can go for Eze and Olise, but they need more than
They
Eze
do.
and Olise.
No, they need a full rebuild.
They need way more than Eze and Olise. And the reason why Haaland is not performing as much, Haaland is similar to Haaland.
Yeah.
They need service.
It's more skillful. It's more skillful than Haaland. But
it's more skillful, but it needs service to deliver. So if you have a whole team, Garnacho today was looking to score. He wasn't looking to assist anybody.
No.
The other young boy too, Ahmad, was looking to score. This is the problem with United. Anthony is looking to score. What's his name? Rashford is looking to score. So who's going to provide the service for your 85 million pound striker?
So we didn't plan to do this.
A complete re-engineering.
Yeah, we didn't plan to do it. But let's fix Man U real quick and then we wrap. So
okay,
the guy from The Athletic, the guy with the baseball cap, what's his name again? The guy who David Ornstein, was on our broadcast today. They were talking to him from the US or whatever. And it was talking about Man U and, the cat and mouse game, between the new ownership and Eric Ten Hag, and they can't really make a move because they're in the FA Cup final and it's all weird and stuff. New owner with all the money wants to bring in his own person, all of that. And then Rebecca Lowe, who does our studio host, was like, hey, what do they need at Man U? And for most teams that are worth talking about, you're mentioning 2 or 3 targets. This man reels off like 5 or 7. I was like, they need a striker. They need central midfielders. They need attacking midfielders. They need a defender. I'm like, whoa. They need a whole team.
They need a whole team. And he's not lying. He's not.
So yeah. So
they are in a worse position than Chelsea, actually.
No, they are.
United.
Chelsea. The problem with Chelsea is they have players. They're too impatient to like see how it goes, because they bought a bunch of young players. Some of them will pan out. Some of them will not.
Some of them
I feel like Man U would kill right now to have Mudryk, who we're not even sure will be a star. It will be something. We're just not sure. I mean, is it better than Garnacho? I don't know. I think it may have a higher ceiling than Garnacho. Garnacho is a little readier because he came, he's played a little bit more in England. So I don't know.
Anyway, time will tell.
But that's how you fix Man U. Listen to David Ornstein. And then go buy 5 or 7 players.
Complete overhaul.
Yeah.
I told you 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. Wipe the slate clean
for Chelsea.
Start afresh.
Yeah.
But they don't have the patience.
Yeah.
They don't have the patience.
But that's what happens.
Anyway.
Man U is by far the biggest club in England. By far. Liverpool fans will not like it. Arsenal fans will not like it. But they're by far the biggest club in England. It's impossible to rebuild. It's impossible to rebuild. It's the same thing the Knicks. The Knicks used to say proudly that you can't rebuild in New York. And I'm like, the last time you won was 1973. How can you say this? How can you say this?
Arsenal has gone through a rebuild.
But Arsenal was saying the same thing, that we can't rebuild. And then we had to
go. They have, and they've done it. They've done it in 4 or 5 years under Arteta.
But they spent double that time getting battered all over the world because they wouldn't rebuild.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
So if you don't rebuild, the rebuild will be done for you. You know what I mean? Like
it'll be done for you. It'll be done for you. And you will not like it.
Yeah, you will not like it.
And you will not like it.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, people. That's our show for this week. Thank you very much for following us, for subscribing, and for all the interactions that we have across our social media platform. Watch this space for some interesting things coming up over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Akin's coming over to Lagos, so we'll be having a live session somewhere in Lagos, and also look out for some exciting things that are coming up. I don't want to give too much away.
Please don't.
Akin,
Please don't.
last
It
words.
will be a. I want it to be a proper surprise. No, just joking. I think it will be a different dynamic with you and I together in a studio. So I'm really looking forward to it. And then we've always talked about, giveaways, guests, that kind of stuff, interviews. So we'll start implementing that. Yinka, this was our 16th episode.
Yes,
we
number
hit
16,
sometime last week we hit 13,000 views. So again, thank you everyone. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. Mostly because Yinka doesn't talk to me outside of football. So I'm like, how can I get this man, how can I get this man to actually feel compelled to talk to me? So I'm like, let's do a podcast. I'm only kidding, obviously. So yeah, but thank you all for all the engagement. Hopefully we'll keep it going, keep on sharing and liking, and let's hear your thoughts. And thank you, Yinka. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you.
And hopefully, by the time we see you next week, Arsenal will be champions.
Ooh, hopefully. Hopefully, I will lose my. I may not show up. I may not show up to work here or my actual job if that happens.
Oh, your actual job.
or to my home, actually.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
I will lose my mind, that's for sure.
All right, folks.
All right, thank you, everyone.
We'll see y'all.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.